The following program is a Town of Colonie television production of the William K. Sanford Town Library.
Hello everyone, my name is Diane LaCivita and welcome to another episode of Thinking Globally. I'm the Executive Director of the International Center, the Capital Region, and it's always an honor to introduce and let you know of international happenings that are taking place in our community. Today I'm really honored and I'm thrilled to have two representatives of St. Peter's Armenian Church in Watervliet with us today. So we have Father Stepanos. Welcome, Fathers. Thrilled that you're here today.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Yes, and then we have their choir director and one of their deacons, Rafi Topalian.
Nice to be here, Diane. Thank you for the invitation.
And I actually mispronounced your last name. One more time on the pronunciation.
Rafi Topalian.
Topalian, yes. And before the show, we were talking about Armenian names. And so often we see that IAN, and I mentioned that I had recently learned that it means son of. And so Father was actually sharing some additional information in regards to that. Would you mind sharing it again?
Well, generally, the IAN, what precedes that, is the son of whatever that is before. So my last name is Dudukcan, and a duduk is an ancient Armenian instrument. It's like a wooden flute type of thing that takes a lot of air and very strong lungs to play the duduk. Jivan Kasparian is one of the most famous duduk players presently in the world. And so there must have been a duduk player somewhere in my family history. So the IAN is the son of the duduk player. But that IAN has also evolved. Most Armenians from the West will have an IAN, meaning west of Armenia. Those that are in Armenia proper, when they've come to America or when they write their names in English in Armenia, they'll use YAN. And then also those that are from old ancient Armenia, present-day Turkey, they'll use the Oglu, O-G-L-U, which all three of them represent the son of and what precedes that. So it's very interesting how regions have adapted a different style of that son of.
I just find that so fascinating. And from somebody who's not Armenian, and when you see an Armenian name, now all of us will know a little bit more maybe where the original family was from.
Most people say IAN, you see Armenian.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's absolutely true, yeah.
And there are exceptions, as I mentioned, Kilian or Sebastian.
Right.
Anytime I travel, we go to a different city, I always try to look up last names IAN, And it's interesting. There are Armenians without that last name, so that's what we try to look out for in the Capital District, to invite them to our church, St. Peter Armenian Church.
Now tell me about St. Peter's Armenian Church, the church on the hill.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that church that's presently there was built in 1970, consecrated in 1971. So an approximate 1.5 to 2 year process of building. And that church also is a traditional Armenian style of church architecture in Watervliet. So prior to that, though, we've been around, we've established community since 1899, so well over 100 years. And prior to our Watervliet location, we were in Troy for decades on Jacob Street. And that was another church that we purchased and kind of made Armenian inside. And then prior to that, we first, in 1899, when we first created this Armenian community, it was the Armenian community of Green Island. And so that they rented a church and they worshiped. Generally, that's what Armenians do and have done throughout their history. wherever they've traveled in the Armenian kingdom, or if they've expanded their empire, they built churches. And the same thing in America. You know, we came to this country generally in the mid to late 1800s, and the first thing Armenians did was build churches, or began worshiping. So now your current location was donated, correct? The property, 45 acres, was donated by a particular family? Yeah, it was a very inexpensive price, so we can consider it like a gift. Agnes Wiswald, she was somehow connected to an Armenian family in Watervliet, and when we were looking for the opportunity to leave Troy and to move somewhere else, this land became available. And so that we have our 45 acres of land up on the hill in Watervliet. And I was not there, obviously, in 1970. I was only 5 years old. But from what people tell me, you know, the view now is spectacular. Yeah. Even then, with the less trees and shrubs, you can see all of Troy and all of Watervliet. It's a beautiful sight at night when we have evening events.
Yeah, the view is beautiful. Yeah. I recently went to your Armenian festival, and you had it in your pavilion, which is great.
Right.
And it was beautiful. And one thing I also want to mention is to thank you. Your Armenian Church participated in the International Center of Sacred Spaces. Yes. So on Valentine's Day of this year, we visited 7 local worship centers, and one of which was the Armenian Church. And it was really an honor to bring a group there and to see the inside of the church, because it's beautiful. Yeah. And it's much different from other Catholic sanctuaries.
Right. I'm sorry I missed that, but Deacon Rafi is great at being a spokesperson to the outside world for the Armenian Church, a great advocate. And him and one of our other deacons led that program. So we're very happy and pleased to be a part of the community that we're in. That's another thing that Armenians are noted for. Wherever they go, you know, they make a mark in their local community. So we're happy to do that, and we'd welcome you anytime.
Yeah, it's just so welcoming. I think often people go by a place of worship, and then, you know, maybe there's cars, maybe it looks like there's an activity or some type of service going on. I think people are generally curious to see what's going on, and to know that you're welcome is something. So thank you for that opportunity. Yeah. Now, so you started in Green Island, and then the parish moved to Troy, and then has been in Watervliet, really on the cusp of Colonie, I'm going to say.
Right.
Where do your parishioners come from?
Well, first let me clarify, our property literally is like the line of the Colonie Watervliet property is both.
Okay, so you're in Colonie as well.
Yeah,
good.
And what's great is that we have both Watervliet Police Department and the Colonie Police Department hang out and, you know, do their work up on the hill. So it's great. You know, the Armenians, for the most part, when they first came here in the late 1800s, they gathered in Watervliet and Troy. That was the majority, and Green Island. That was basically the early residents where they lived. Now we've expanded, you know, an hour radius at least in all directions. We have families that come from Saratoga, from Queensbury, Glens Falls. We have families that come from, you know, just the northern part of the Mid-Hudson Valley, you know, that travel an hour and 15 minutes. Now, do they come every Sunday? No, but they're a part of our parish base. They're a part of our church family, and you know, they come once or twice a month at least. You know, they make an effort. So we're all over the place. And but you know, we've expanded. The majority of our Armenians now, I would say, you know, we have Latham, you know, Delmar, Clifton Park, you know, where the Capital District has expanded over the past 100 years, the Armenians have also gone there too.
Now, how large is your parish? How many families?
We have about 400 family names on our mailing list, and they're not all members of the church. You know, active, you know, we have probably about 100 people that are there, you know, on and off. On, you know, a good Sunday, we get 125 people with the children. Right. You know, we have about 30 kids in our Sunday school. 25-30 in Armenian school, the language classes. So, we have a pretty big database, family base that we cater to, I like to think.
Now, I didn't know you offered language classes, so
We do.
you do that right at the church?
We do that at the church, and that's something too that's been well before me. Rafi grew up in the Armenian school as a student, as a young kid.
I have fond memories.
Yeah, I grew up in mine in New Jersey. It's very common that the churches will offer a language class, usually Friday nights or Saturday
Okay.
mornings.
Now, do you have to be Armenian to participate?
No, not at all.
And what's the age category?
Generally, we do, like from kindergarten up through high school.
Okay.
And, beginning of high school. From time to time, we do offer adult classes for language. Yeah.
I want to mention, I'm originally from Constantinople or Istanbul, so I had an advantage. I spoke the language fluently, Armenian and Turkish, and so the Armenian school and the church, and besides my parents, fortified, maintaining my Armenian language. But we invite your audience to come and learn Armenian, and being a choir director, I have to mention, our music is not that challenging, so anybody interested in it, they can contact the church office, contact us. I'll be happy to, teach them.
Of course, the choir director says, "Oh, it's not that challenging." But that's a beautiful offer. Thank you very, very much for that. I wanted to mention when we were at your beautiful festival, your wonderful festival, I was introduced to a priest, a father, and he explained to me that he was in charge of the Armenian churches in Poland. And that kind of took me back a little bit. I was under the impression, okay, there's Armenian churches here in the United States from people immigrating, and then there would be churches in Armenia, but that's not the case.
This Father Dajjad, he was actually here for about a year and a half as an assistant in the parish when I was also doing diocesan work at the time. So, and he was placed in Poland by our Pope, our Catholicos, and he's done a wonderful job of kind of unifying the Armenians that are in Poland. And, there's a history of Armenians in Poland that go back quite a few hundred years. But generally, we find Armenians worldwide now. And that's because of the diaspora that's been created because of the Armenian Genocide that took place nestled into World War I. And and I know that's a topic we'll talk about as well. But so you have Armenians everywhere. They left Armenia proper, what's now Turkey. They went through the deserts and into the Middle East. They went to Europe. They went to the United States, all the continents. And, once again, like I said earlier, what Armenians do best is they build churches. So now you have churches all over the world. In Asia, you have Armenian churches. In India, Bangladesh, there's even Armenian. There's an edifice, or France, Spain. You name a country, and there's Armenian churches, and there's Armenian people for the most part.
Some estimate it might be up to 10 to 12 million.
Really?
Throughout the world. It's tough to estimate.
Right, of course.
And what's interesting is that we know that Turkey, the Ottoman Turks, the Ottoman Empire, their goal was to annihilate the Armenians, to make them extinct. And so to say that there's 10 million Armenians worldwide, it's obvious that they did not accomplish their goal.
Right. Well, why don't we talk about that? So
Right.
we look at this year as the 100th really observance year of the Armenian Genocide.
Right. The centennial, 2015, so you go back 100 years, 1915. That's generally the date that's given for the commemoration of the genocide. Why is that so? On April 24th, 1915, in Constantinople, the Turkish government gathered the intellects together the educators, the lawyers, the priests, those that had an education, those that were of great influence. They gathered them together, and they executed them. Public hangings, shootings, decapitations, whatever it may be. And unfortunately, that wasn't the beginning of it. You go back, 30, 40 years earlier, in the 1880s, there were other massacres that were taking place in Adana, in other regions of Turkey, that region which is very large. But it culminated in 1915 and continued really through 1923 or so. And the numbers, the guesstimates are up to 1.5 million Armenians that were brutally massacred. Many of them also went on death marches and the deportations through the deserts, which has now become very popular because of ISIS. Through the deserts of Syria and Turkey, Deir Zor. And many Armenians had their first homes. They were saved in Syria, and now it's almost full cycle with ISIS now destroying Syria and parts of northern Turkey or northern Syria.
I just wanted to say that 1.5 million is an important number because it was 3/4 of its population at the time. The numbers are very staggering, and since 2000 we have founded a Capital District Armenian Genocide Committee that puts on seminars or lectures or concerts throughout the Capital District to educate the public at large and even our own Armenian community so that we will never forget.
Right.
And that's very important. And I'd like to later on in the interview mention some of those perhaps dates that are coming up.
Please feel free, if there's something particular with that committee, please do.
Well, I'll mention, since it came up, I had a vision to put on a concert to the Armenian community locally and abroad has put on many different commemorations and events this year so far. So I have organized a concert in memory, in honor of the old genocide victims and survivors throughout history. The Armenian genocide is the template of all genocides. This is the first genocide of the 20th century, as the Pope mentioned in a mass in April. So we have invited different ethnic communities to participate in this concert, and we've gotten a very positive response. And the date is October 11th. It'll be a 2-hour concert and a reception afterwards. The location will be Our Lady of Victory Catholic Church off of Huzik Street in South Lake. Basically, the second part will be all in Armenian by the New York Catholic Chorale, and my friend Christian, who is the director, is leading us in that, and I'm going to be one of the singers in that, and we have some from the Armenian community participating in that. But the first part is even more exciting because we have gotten assurances from the Jewish community, the Ukrainian community, Italian community, the Greek Orthodox Church, St. Sophia's. They're going to bring their choir, and it's going to be a celebration, and at the same time commemorating. And the message is, for us, we have survived and we have thrived.
The celebration element of it, which is very interesting, really has come about now after 100 years. And why I say that is, for the first time in centuries, the Armenian Church as a whole has created a new saint. We've never had a saint in over 400 years. And the church on April 23rd consecrated and sanctified the holy martyrs of the Armenian genocide. So no longer are they known simply as martyrs, but now they're holy martyrs, they're saints, which really changes the face of the Armenian Church for everyone that's living today. we've never experienced what it's like to have a saint.
Right.
The Catholic Church, they create saints every month. Right, which is great. There's a saint for every situation.
Right.
But our circumstances have been such that we just, for whatever reasons, when you're in the midst of a genocide, you're not thinking of saints,
right,
or when you're trying to survive. But now that it's clear that we are 100 years later stronger, still functioning, and more so than functioning. We're living. And so now those martyrs, now as holy martyrs, inspire all of us. And the other unique thing about this, which is just huge, is that almost every single Armenian family, you talk to Rafi, you talk to me, you talk to anyone that was at that festival that was Armenian, they will tell you stories, firsthand accounts of their family members, grandparents, great-grandparents, being massacred, being tortured, and being killed. So now this umbrella of the holy martyrs affects all of us. I have a saint in my family now, which is neat. My wife's great-grandfather was an Armenian priest that was killed, that was tortured. And so my children have their great-great-grandfather as a saint. And that alone is such a life-giving experience, and it's a hopeful experience. So, I have sensed that with this centennial, it has been a transformation to celebration, celebrating the life that we have as an Armenian people, celebrating the Armenian culture, celebrating our Armenian faith. Another point I was going to say a little bit earlier was that when we talk about our cultural events and cultural activities, the church for so long, under that pressure of the genocide from the Ottoman Empire, and then also for 70 years under the Soviet, communist regime, the church had been the place to not only keep faith, but to keep the culture. And so the church really has always had a dual function. We cannot separate our culture from our faith. Our culture is faith. Our faith is culture. So it's a unique thing, especially as an ethnic.
Right.
And I think other ethnics would probably understand that.
I have to say, my husband and I went to, you had an event at your church, and you served bread and water.
It was interesting.
And it was a very meaningful night. And then I also want to mention, and Rafi knows, my son did a paper on the Armenian genocide, and he did it through oral history. And he interviewed somebody from your parish, and it was really, it was a wonderful interview for the sense of honesty this gentleman shared. And he said, generation grew up with no grandparents, generation grew up with no parents, and it's not that far removed. So the importance of recognizing it and realizing that you've survived and that you really have accomplished, I think that says a lot about the Armenian community and a lot about the Armenian Church.
We also thank your son for volunteering at our festival.
Yeah, right.
That was...
Yes, it was fun. Yeah. It was a good day. And you had great weather, and you had great turnout, and the food was awesome. Fabulous.
Absolutely.
I mean,
it's always good.
Yeah. I mean, not even being Armenian, I'm like, let's go and get, the hummus and the baklava. It was so good. Actually, what do you have coming up? So we're talking about these things that have happened.
One thing we have, we have some meats that were never used and are still frozen, and what we do is, I think next week, I think it's next Wednesday, I've kind of the past couple of years I've instituted, the Armenian term for the priest is called derhide.
Derhide, okay.
And so I call it a derhide's drive-through.
Okay.
And we have our grill, and get some volunteers to help me out.
Are you cooking?
Yeah, I do some of the cooking. We cook it up, and people drive around the back of the church. We give them in a takeout container, and they take it home. They get to have the high burger, the pilaf, all
you
those
go.
delicious things, they
Yeah.
take it home. So we'll do that, and we're also going to have 2 barbecues, one in July and one in August,
Okay.
on the grounds under our newly built pavilion,
Beautiful
which we're
pavilion.
so proud of, and it's just phenomenal. It changes the landscape and the our environment. It's
Right.
just wonderful. It's great.
Probably
to
are
use.
able to utilize that property so much
Absolutely.
more. Now, is the public invited to those barbecues?
Absolutely.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. You can check our website, www.stpeterarmenianchurch.com. Or, we have a Facebook page, St.
Okay.
Peter Armenian Church. It's the business one where you type that in and you'll get that in on Facebook.
Great.
And our events are on there as well.
Wonderful.
Well, looking ahead in December, because we have 2 major events, the festival, which has grown over the years thanks to the leadership of Father Stepanos, because he is a big cheerleader, and he directs us. We have a lot of great volunteers. It's grown over the years, and we're very, very proud of that, and we thank the Capital District for that.
Yeah.
The second big event is the December Bazaar, and a great way of remembering
Okay.
these dates, because instead of giving you dates, it's the first weekend of each of those months. So June is the Armenian festival, the first weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and then the bazaar, the same thing, the first weekend of December.
Now-
So that's a good way of remembering for
What
many
happens
years
at
to
your
come.
bazaar?
Right. What's interesting there is that you'll find some similar foods, but you find more of the winter foods at our December Bazaar. We have like a yogurt soup with chicken and some like a kufta, a bulgur and meat
Okay.
ball that's cooked in there. We have dolma, which is the stuffed peppers, Armenian style. We have a lot of the same baked goods and lahmacun, the Armenian pizza. That's also available too. So
A lot of vendors.
we don't disappoint. So
Yeah.
we have vendors too, and
That's grown over the years too, thanks
Yeah,
to the
absolutely.
Is that,
guild
now that takes
spearheading.
place at the church?
at the church inside the Gdanyan Hall.
Is
down
there an
below.
admission charge to go?
No, we
No.
never offer a charge.
We don't. Free parking.
Free parking for our festival, free admission for our festival, and free admission for our bazaar. Because we
Wonderful.
noticed that some of our friends that also have summertime festivals charge for entry.
And you
And I don't know
don't?
if we mentioned the address, 100 Choice Schenectady
Yes, we
Road.
did.
We
Yeah.
did? Well, it's
100.
good that
Let's do it
I
again.
mentioned it again, I guess.
Yeah. No, this is great. Gentlemen, I want to thank you so much. Thank you. I think you've shared, and I believe the community is probably going to learn a little bit more about your parish, about Armenia, about this very important year, about upcoming events.
Sure.
So thank you.
Can I just say one
Yeah, of
short
course you
thing
may.
to conclude that if anyone's interested in learning more, there's a couple ways you can do it. You type in Armenian on Google
Mm-hmm.
or any search engine you have, you can do that. Type in Armenian Genocide, you'll learn about a lot of things about the genocide. Or come to our church.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of books. People are welcome to come and to read that. We're kind of recreating a library
Okay.
with our books. Most of them are in English. There are some in Armenian. So just visit and ask questions. We'd be happy to help you out.
Wonderful.
One thing that I would just add, if you don't mind, I'd like
course
to
not.
give you my phone number as well, not only for the audience to possibly consider joining our choir or participate in some of these dates that I've already given, and the number is easy to remember, 272-2000. September 7th, I've been singing at the Valley Cats for the past 12 years. A wonderful organization, very, very successful. And the past couple of years, we've done an Armenian American night. So this year, it's September 7th. It's a Monday. It's a Labor Day. However, it's at 5 o'clock. And it's all you can eat, what you would find at a baseball stadium. But on top of that, there'll be some Armenian delicacies as well.
Nice.
And it's $25 a person, and we rent the porch. There's 40 spots there on the right field.
Okay.
And it's a wonderful. And that night I will sing as well, and there'll be fireworks. So I wanted to let your audience know about
Great
that.
evening out for the family.
And absolutely, and also, just one final thing, the October 25th is the Festival of Nations this year, and the Armenian community is one of the communities that has started that over 40 years ago, and we're proud that we're continuing that tradition, and that takes place at the Convention Center in downtown Albany, below the Egg, and 25 nations. We do a lot of networking. You're familiar with it, of course. Our chairman is Manoj Ajmera. I believe it's festivalofnations.net if they want to get more information, or they can call me at that easy-to-remember phone number 272-2000.
Yeah, thank you so much. And before we close today, I have asked Rafi, because I know Rafi as a singing jeweler, and if you've gone to probably any public event at some point or other, you've probably heard Rafi sing. He has a tremendous voice, so he's asking you about the choir at St. Peter's, which is great, but he has really contributed so much to so many communities, and I do need to say that so often the International Center involves itself in different ethnic groups, and you're always there. You're the cheerleader on the side, and you're so willing to share your beautiful talent of your voice. So before we close today, I have asked Rafi if he can sing a couple of songs.
Sure. It's actually, I would ask Father Stepanos to maybe introduce the hymns. The first one I will sing is Urachler. Okay, and I can say a few things about it, but I'd like to have Father sort of introduce that. And the second one that I will sing would be Kovya Yerusalem. So let's start with the Urachler.
Urachler is it's a hymn of rejoicing. Rejoice, Holy Church. So whenever there's something that the church celebrates, oftentimes this hymn is sung at weddings, at Episcopal gatherings. It's a celebratory song. Yeah. And then Kovya Yerusalem, you can go right into that one. That is an Easter hymn, praise to Jerusalem.
Now, are you okay sitting?
It's fine. I usually like to stand up, but I think we'll make an exception for this.
Okay, it's up to you.
Okay, let's see what it sounds like. If it doesn't sound, give me the signal. I can sing the Kovya Yerusalem standing up, perhaps,
Beautiful. Rafi, thank you. That was such an incredible treat. Thank you, thank you.
Would you like me to sing the other?
Oh, yes, please, I'm sorry.
It's this is a much faster one, for Easter time.
Okay.
Kovia Jerusalem oster, harjav Christos, imere Alleluia, yekai short, yerketzek yan Alleluia, parkor yevorvo, Ashmiev misht, yev avidyot, avidenit amen, harutz Elohim merelot, alleluia, vorzashkares lusavorias, alleluia. I want to say this is one of Father Stepanos' favorite hymns.
He sang along.
It is also sung in liturgy as a midday hymn, or it can be sung as a recessional. And one thing that I do want to invite your audience to really come to our services, and it's not 2 hours anymore. We've without losing its meaning, cut it down to an hour and 15 minutes. Thanks to the Father Stepanos' leadership, that brings more people in,
Sure.
busy families, and so it's my job as choir director to, without losing the meaning of the songs, the hymns, to keep the tempo going. So,
Beautiful, beautiful. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining
Thank
us
you.
today.
Thank you for
Really
inviting us.
appreciate
And
the
thank you
opportunity.
to the audience opening and welcoming whomever in Colonie would like to come and visit.
If there's
Thank
anything
you.
we can do for you, again, let us know. We'd be happy to help
One more
out.
time on that website.
stpeterarmenianchurch.org.
Okay.
And the saint is, .com. St. Peter, S.T. Peter.
Gotcha. Great. Super. Thank you. All right. On behalf of the International Center of the Capital Region and the Town of Colonie Public Access Channel, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again. Thanks.
Awesome.